you. And hello, everybody. We're here with another Fantasy League retrospective video. This time we're going to be paying homage to our previous champions. We've had 9 seasons in the Fantasy League and 9 different people. That's right, we've never had a repeat winner. No one has ever won this Fantasy League twice. But that means we've had 9 different people who can say that they have the prestige to be an AAFF Fantasy League champion. In this video, I'm going to pay respect to the effort that they gave so that they could call themselves Fantasy League champions. And without further ado, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the Fantasy League origin. You know, how this concept got started. And it's a very simple story. Back when I owned Alice's Action Figure Frenzy, when it was a brick and mortar store in Mount Vernon, I was advertising on a regular basis with the local radio station WQIO 93.7. The WWE Money in the Bank pay-per-view was going to be held in Columbus, Ohio in June of 2015. 93.7 comped me 2 sets of tickets to the event. What happened was I had already bought tickets for the event, so I'm like, well, I've got these 4 extra tickets. What am I going to do with them? How can I give them away? And, you know, not just do a raffle or a drawing, because those are old and tired. You know, I wanted to come up with a unique way to give these tickets away. Well, what we did was I came up with a concept basically off of something I had run in the past. I had run fantasy tournaments, like the singles tournament. I took 64 of what I thought were the best talents of all time in wrestling, not just WWE, but I picked 16 people from the 70s. I picked 16 from the 80s, 16 from the 90s, 16 from the 2000s, and I put them in a fantasy tournament to see who was the greatest of all time. I went off of that concept somewhat. I decided, let's do a WWE Fantasy League. You know, we've seen baseball fantasy leagues, we've seen football fantasy leagues. It's basically a fantasy league for anything under the sun. As a matter of fact, I believe WWE has even tried a fantasy league a time or two, but it's never gotten any traction. Hey, Flash. So I decided, well, let me take a crack at it. Let me see what I can do with it. And it was only going to run from WrestleMania until the weekend or the week before Money in the Bank. It was only going to run 3 months. Basically, all we did was you picked your team, you swapped out talent that either retired or got injured, and whoever had the most total points at the end of the season was the winner. Since it was such a success the first time, I said, well, let's try season 2. And then season 2 turned into, hey, let's try season 3, season 4, so on and so forth. And we have done 9 seasons and we are still going strong. Season 10 will be coming up in 2021. Now we're going to talk about some fun facts about the Fantasy League, as long as Flash doesn't keep hitting my tripod. The first thing I'm going to talk about is something I discussed previously, but we've had 9 seasons, we've had 9 different champions. That means no one has ever won a Fantasy League season twice. We've got a lot of people who do good consistently every season. However, they've only been able to win one time. Another interesting Fantasy League fact is we've never had a first-time player, with the exception, obviously, of Season 1. We've never had a rookie player win a Fantasy League season. Another fun fact is, I don't know if this is a blessing or a curse, but the person, team, player who gets the #1 draft pick has never won a Fantasy League season. They usually do pretty good, except for that Season 5 faux pas when Seth Fracker picked The Miz. Usually do pretty good, but they have not been able to turn a #1 pick into a season championship yet. Only one time whenever we've run a playoff scenario, only one time has the overall #1 seed in the playoffs won the Fantasy League. That's only happened once. So there's some interesting Fantasy League facts that I thought you might be interested in. Now I'm going to start talking about the previous champions. And we're going to start with Season 1. The Season 1 champion was Jim Hoare. If you go to his Facebook page, you will see that he poses for a lot of photos with celebrities. And there's a good reason why. Jim Hoare is involved in autograph shows, Comic Cons. Some of his more popular clients would be Dave Bautista, Michael Rooker. He's in really tight with the Walking Dead cast. He's in really tight with the Guardians of the Galaxy cast. So it is basically every weekend you'll see him flying off somewhere to go to a show. But he decided to be one of the first players in Season 1, and with the basic concept we had for Season 1, he ended up being the Season 1 champion. Now on to Season 2. Season 2 had a lot of new participation, and some of the players from Season 1 graduated into Season 2, especially the Season 2 champion, which was Cara Edwards, along with her son Dalton. They have been one of 3 players who have played all but one season. So they are constantly getting into the Fantasy League. I appreciate their loyalty and I appreciate their support, and they came out of the blocks early in Season 2 and basically did not look back. So Season 2 champion, Cara Edwards. Now we're on to the Season 3 champion, Joel Bywaters. Joel Bywaters lived in an apartment above my shop in Mount Vernon and would often come talk to me, while I was in the shop when, there were no customers in there. He'd come in and chat for a while, and one day I kind of asked him, hey, you seem to know a lot about WWE. Why don't you get in the Fantasy League and see how you go? And in Season 3, he wound up being the overall champion. So Season 3 champion, Joel Bywaters. The Season 4 champion, Ian Ernsberger. Season 4 gets a really bad rap because that was the only season that we used the Yankee swap option as part of the draft. The Yankee swap option was whoever was drafting first, they would pick a name out of the hat and then reveal it to the rest of the players. Now, the next player could either take the person that the first person drafted from them and make the first person have to draw again, or they could come up and draw their own name. And it was a concept that I thought was kind of innovative for a draft. Turned out to be a big stinker. Nobody liked it, and we haven't used it since. But one of the guys who benefited from the Yankee swap was Ian Ernsberger. And I believe this was also the first season where I actually played a team. It was kind of a surprise deal. I revealed it to the players on draft day that I was going to be playing a team. And Ian's team wound up beating my team in the finals. So, Season 4 champion, Ian Ernsberger. The Season 5 champion, Kyle Sutton. Kyle Sutton's a guy who I believe joined in Season 2. I may be wrong, but I believe he joined in Season 2, and he's only missed one season since then. It was this past Season 9. But he got in Season 5. The Fantasy League gods were in his corner, and Kyle Sutton came out a winner in Season 5. So the Season 5 champion, Kyle Sutton. The Season 6 champion, Aaron Beeler. Aaron's a guy who got in on Season 2 and did fairly well throughout all the seasons that he participated in, but he turned Season 6 into a winner. Season 6 was kind of unique because during the first few seasons that we did, the top prize was always tickets to a Monday Night Raw event in Columbus. The problem with Season 6 is, usually WWE would tell us when they were coming back, but this time they didn't. So we started a Fantasy League season in hopes of getting a good heads up on when they were coming back so that we could give away tickets again. However, WWE did not give any foreshadowing as to when they were coming back, so finally we just decided to end the season. Aaron Beeler, I believe, was out so far ahead anyway. We couldn't do team versus team matchups. This was another total point season, but Aaron Beeler was so far ahead that he could have sat out like a month, and I don't think anyone still would have caught him. So that's the story of the Season 6 champion, Aaron Beeler. Season 7. Season 7 holds a very special place in my heart. Reason being, that was the very first season where we gave away a trophy. We introduced a championship belt that would be given to the winner that they would be able to hold over the off season and then have to do an official relinquishment at the draft party for the following season. And the first person to bring home a championship belt was Chris Pierce. Chris Pierce is another guy that's been there for me. I think he started in season 3 and has played every season since. And his son usually will help me out during the draft if I need a runner to go get picks for me, or if I needed a runner to go like get Cokes from the pizza shop for me. Chris allowed his son to be that guy for me, and I appreciate that. But Chris Pierce, he's another loyal player, and I appreciate his participation. I hope you play for as long as I run the Fantasy League. The Season 7 champion, Chris Pierce. Season 8. And Flash had decided to join me again. Hey, buddy. Alright. And it's apropos that Flash joins me here because at the beginning of Season 8, that's when Flash joined the family. Season 8 champion, Jessica Coleman. Jessica and her husband Evan, who we'll talk about here in a minute, has been playing the Fantasy League since Season 2, and they are another couple that I hope they stay in for as long as we run a Fantasy League, because I always welcome their participation. They usually always do well, but in Season 8, Jessica and Evan were the tournament finalists. To determine the champion of Season 8, Evan went in as a heavy favorite and got upset by his wife Jessica. I wanted to be a fly on the wall in the Coleman house that week. Anyway, one of my more loyal players, Season 8 champion, Jessica Coleman. And finally, Season 9. Season 9, the pandemic season. The draft for Season 9 was done exclusively through Facebook Messenger, and it showed me just how much fun we have at a live draft, and I hope we never have to do an online draft ever again, because, it took longer. It went a lot slower, but anyway, Season 9 champion, he'd been playing since Season 2, and he was one of those guys, always a bridesmaid, never a bride. Well, in Season 9, Evan Coleman finally took home the trophy, and he is your current reigning, defending AAFF Fantasy League champion, Evan Coleman. You finally brought it home, brother. And those are your previous champions. The only 9 people on this planet who can say they have won the most prestigious fantasy league in the world. We're going to go do Season 10 in 2021. It's going to be outstanding. It's going to be fabulous. It's going to be spectacular. And all those power words that you can think of, it's going to be that and then some. Those of you who are already signed up for Season 10, thank you very much. I appreciate your participation. For those of you who want to get in on Season 10, get in contact with me. You can find me at steve.alicey@yahoo.com. You can find me on Facebook. Just search my name, Steve Alicey, and you can send me a private message. Or if you're already on Facebook, you can look up the AAFF Fantasy League group page and request to become a member, and we'll give you details on how you can join. And also for the players who have already signed up, start recruiting some players. It's never too early. Let's get this league filled up. We need 16 players this season. So without further ado, I'm going to sign off. This is Steve saying see ya.